Okay, cool. So, today's topic, young men keep your innocence. A lot of people are going to tell young men nowadays that, oh, you should be in a rush to drink, smoke, have sex with multiple women, do all these things to gain experience because we associate masculinity with experiencing basically hedonism and all these things. But I'm here to tell you, young men, if you're innocent, if you're a virgin, if you've not even had your first kiss yet, I'm telling you, bro, don't be in a rush to just give that energy to any girl that walks. If you've never smoked weed, you've never drank, there's nothing in drinking and smoking weed. Stay sober, stay vigilant, you know what I'm saying? If you've not got into like dangerous things or whatever, stay innocent. I remember back in the day, yeah, in primary school or even early high school, obviously me, I found explicit content quite young in it. So like I wouldn't see how that would later affect the trajectory of my life, but obviously looking back, it did. Like my teenage years, I had almost like barely any confidence, and it wasn't just puberty and that transition from a boyhood to adult that was caused by the lack of confidence. No, it was to do with the explicit content. I was like 14, 15 years old and I was literally battling an addiction. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a boy should not have to go through that. You know what I'm saying? A 13-year-old should not have to go through that. You get me? Man was like 12, 13 battling an addiction, bro. You know how crazy that is? I didn't have my childhood in a sense. My innocence got taken. When I was 14, I first started smoking weed and then I started regularly smoking 15, but I started smoking weed when I was 14. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've ever had to fight a weed addiction cuz by the grace of God, um I've never had to fight a weed addiction in my life. A weed addiction is not something that I've had to fight. However, while I will not say it was ever an addiction, there was a point where I would use it recreationally way too much, right? I'm talking about smoking weed, going to school, failing subjects, things like that, and just in general not putting myself in the best frame. So weed, that's my innocence. Thank God I have Christian parents, you know what I'm saying? Very, no, not pretend Christian, like we're in church every week. So they still did put principles down to whereas I was only like 18 when I first had my first bit of alcohol, but I knew a lot of my friends who were drinking from the ages of 12, 13. Again, you're literally a boy. You're not even a man, and again, losing your innocence. Society puts value on a woman's innocence, right? We tell all these girls, oh, don't sleep around. And every guy, we want a girl that's not been around. You know me, the type of girl that I want personally. I want a girl that's not really, you know, indulged in, other guys and slept around. And some people could call that insecure. I just see that as I want what's mine to be mine, innit? I don't want to deal with the baggage that comes with a woman who has unfortunately dealt with a lot of guys. Some guys are willing to deal with that, and that's great. They can go deal with that type of woman, but preferably, I would not want to deal with that. So, yeah, everyone, including me, would always say, yes, as a girl, keep your innocence. A lot of the green flags, most guys will preach about a girl that doesn't smoke, a girl that doesn't, drink, a girl that's not promiscuous, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, as men, I don't think we understand that that exact standard is good for us because as men, there is something beautiful about being pure that doesn't really get talked about. And even the context of talking about purity from a male standpoint, it kind of makes certain man kind of move like, bro, what do you mean man needs to be pure, bro? Are you a bitch? But bro, I'm telling you, bro, like, there's an inner child within all of us that still exists. You know what I'm saying? All of us are just, you know what I'm saying? Like, one thing I've clocked is we're all just children trying to make sense of the world. Obviously, we're adults and biologically, but I mean, if you deep it, bro, there's a deep part of us that's still like our inner child in it. And a lot of us, our inner child was damaged by, drinking, by smoking, by watching explicit content, by even having casual sex. There's people, a lot of boys have stories where they're like, oh, my babysitter, we got it on. My brother, that's abuse. First of all, you don't even know that's abuse, but that is abuse, step one. And number two, bro, your innocence was taken. I'll be so real, like, and that's is not only is it abuse, but your innocence was taken, bro. Like, and I don't think men value innocence. Like me personally, like, you know, I've been in a long term relationship. It didn't end the best way. And in a way, I feel like my innocence, even in that sense, was taken because it's like everyone wants their first long term relationship to be their wife. Mine wasn't, and it's like fuck. You know what I'm saying? My innocence was taken. I don't have my innocence in that sense. And it's like a lot of men claim that as a man you shouldn't be innocent, as a man you shouldn't have this quality, but I disagree. I think young boys, especially nowadays, do not feel pressured to sleep with multiple women. Number one, it doesn't make you a man. Just because you're able to sleep with a bunch of these girls who, by the way, anyone, okay, let me put it like this. If anyone can sleep with all these women, right? If all these women have high body count and anyone can sleep with them, what does it really show to your masculinity that you were able to sleep with them? Or it doesn't show anything. It all it shows is that you give into hedonism, right? You give into pleasure, the useless pursuit of pleasure. But it's not something we should strive for as men. As men, we want to build legacies, right? And how do you build legacies? By delaying gratification, by pushing backwards what's nice now for the greater benefits that we can see later in life. And I really do believe more men should aim and really try and keep our innocence, try and preserve our innocence. Society tells young men that, you know, the amount of women you sleep with and, all these extreme vices that you get, like, yeah, I've done cocaine, I've drank, I've smoked. It's like, no, no, don't be in a rush to do that, especially if you're young. Listen, you don't need to be in a rush to play catch up. You get me? You don't need to do all that, to be honest with you. The aspect that society, in my opinion, should emphasize is we should not shelter young men. I do believe that young men need to be challenged, whether this is in sports, if you want to dedicate yourself to an academic field, you want to be the best. That healthy, masculine aggression is real. Like, you should not be sheltered. You should not be in a bubble, right? So that, yes, you shouldn't be innocent in the sense like, okay, you're gonna get hurt by life, things like that. But when it comes to things like sex, drinking, smoking, hanging around with the wrong people, um, inflicting large amounts on violence on people for no reason. Obviously, violence is justified when the circumstances are right. I just don't believe that it's fruitful. I believe the same way we advise young women to, for the most part, keep their purity when it comes to, sexually and obviously drinking and smoking and all these bad vices. I do believe that we should tell young men to also keep their purity because in a society where we have pure men and pure women, there would be a lot less heartbreak, there would be a lot less problems to deal with, and we would just have happier people because what society doesn't tell you about all these like vices is that, for example, with casual sex, right, or watching explicit content, right, these are real vices that have ruined whole families. Some men, they're so addicted to the chase of pursuing new women and sleeping with them that they've ruined their marriages, happy marriages with women that treated them amazingly. There's some men that their battle with corn has led them to a really dark place where they've completely isolated themselves, they've fucked up their social skills, things like that. They're fully addicted, right? There's people who are become alcoholics, right? And why do they become alcoholics? Because they were drinking from a young age. You know what I mean? There's people who they smoke so much weed, and because it started from young, that they were never able to hit a trajectory to really get some type of success in life, right? So all these bad habits that people will tell you, oh, really, you've not done that, you're such a boy, you're so innocent. I'm telling you, don't be in a rush to try and impress these people because deep down, a lot of these people are not happy within themselves. A good, I guess, quantifiable way to see if you're truly happy would be to say, okay, look, if I was to remove all these substances, if I was to remove all these aspects that, a lot of people use as vices nowadays, how am I on an average day? No drinking, no smoking, no corn, and let's remove women entirely, right? Let's say you don't even talk into a girl, never mind pursuing her in that light. And a lot of people, they would feel like shit because they'd be like, oh, I don't have anything going on in my life. I feel this massive hole, and we try and fill that hole with these vices. But we need to try and fill that hole, in my opinion, with the love of Jesus Christ, God, but also our goals and our purpose. And we need to realize what we want in life, and we need to fill that love, that hole in our heart, with spending times with our family, our friends, and things like that. They should not be filled with vices that at the end of the day just seek to bring us down. So the final message I'm gonna send to any young guy watching: keep your innocence. don't believe you need to sleep with all these women. Ideally, if you want to, saying have sex with a woman that you would marry. I say this all the time. There's no benefit in casual sex. Have sex with a woman that you would not mind if you got pregnant and she had your kids and you guys can raise a family. You know what I'm saying? Don't be sleeping with these girls that they got the spirit of Jezebel, that they're not stable. Don't be doing that. You're better than that. Like straight up, you're just better than that. It's literally just pleasure, and then once that pleasure goes, what are you left with? At worst, you're left with a soul tie in which now you're, spiritually bounded to this woman for God knows how long, and at best you've just wasted time. So don't do that. Don't be in a rush to try and prove people wrong when they say, "Oh, you're high. You've not even smoked weed." Listen, that's okay. Let them laugh. Okay, yeah, I'm innocent. I don't know what that feels like. But at the end of the day, there are things that you will know what feels like in terms of discipline. You can know what building your dream physique feels like. You can know what waking up at 5 a.m. and running feels like. You can know what dedicating yourself to a craft and actually seeing success feels like. And those things will be a lot easier when you don't have these vices. So yeah, that's my advice to young men. Keep your innocence.